And when you're watching this, guess who's with me now?
Hi Angela, it's Bonnie. Shout out.
And she wasn't lying.
Do you want a half happy face too?
Whatever.
Yours is like Cyclops happy face.
Yeah, well, I'm a bit weird anyway. So, great to meet you. Thank
Want a
you.
picture quickly?
I don't know.
I have had so many awesome hugs today. It's unbelievable. Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal on a beautiful Wednesday morning. Not a cloud. Well, yeah, there's some clouds in the sky, but they're really high up. But it looks like it's going to be quite a pretty day. But it's cool for me. Let me see what we're at here. Yeah, it's below 60. It's 58 American and 14 degrees Canadian. So definitely that temperature is dropping. I could feel it. You know where I can feel it is on my floor. I have wooden floors, and you can feel it on the floors in your bare feet in the morning. So it's just like, yep, the temperature is starting to turn. I don't like that. We wait so long for the summer, and then boom, it's gone. However, let me get balance here. It's not like living in the Yukon or somewhere, or where you maybe only get a couple of months of weather without snow. So I'm going to stop moaning and be very grateful for the fact I live in British Columbia, and be grateful for the fact it doesn't get too darn hot, nor does it get too darn cold, although it feels like it does. So I'm sure that there are millions of people around the world who are going, aren't you lucky? And I would say yes. Definitely would say yes. I was listening on the news this morning, or watching rather on the news this morning, about Mark Zuckerberg, the guy from Facebook, and his new initiative. You got to admit that this guy really does have vision. So having done all that he's done with Facebook, he and a group of other major players in the mobile phones genre, that whole group of people, all getting together to see how they can bring the internet to the rest of the world. And it was interesting because the interviewer was saying, well, you made a lot of money out of the first group, what about the second? And then I thought it was wonderful that Mark Zuckerberg made the comment, you do realize that the little group that we've already reached has more spending power than the rest of the world put together. And that's so true. I think we do forget that, and that's something I keep trying to remind people, which is why I think it's relevant to my comment this morning, that we really do live in the top 5%, most of us. In fact, all of us. If you've got a cell phone or a computer, and you have the ability to watch DearMamaSal, you're living in the top 5% in the world. It may not feel like it, but believe you me, you are. And it's just amazing to me that we just forget to be grateful for that. That we forget just how fortunate we are. We forget that we actually do get a lot of really good things on our plate. Now, I'm not suggesting that all of you are in very comfortable situation. I don't mean that at all. But even in your uncomfortable situation, some of you undoubtedly are struggling in your families or on your own, maybe to pay the rent or the mortgage or whatever. But even so, you're in the top 5%. Do you understand? It's just like there are so few people in the world that have what you have. And so we pay the price of our greed, really. I keep trying to think back to when I was the age of some of the people that I met this weekend at Benji and Judy's meet and greet. And I was thinking, gosh, when I was their age, I can't remember exactly how much I earned, but I'm pretty sure that it wasn't very much, because it was a long time ago. We're talking 50 years ago. That's what's scary. No, call it 40 years ago. No, 45. Anyway, a long time ago. And so I was trying to work out, what did I pay for rent in those days? Because normally you can sort of work out where you're at. I believe that I paid $200 a month for my rent. Seemed like such a lot of money. That's what my memory was. $200. Wow. And food? That was a whole lot cheaper. And I think that's the scary thing today. The scary thing for me is not, for example, how much I pay on my mortgage. The scary thing for me is how much it now costs me to feed myself. And now I admit that I'm spoiled. I know that. But it is actually quite amazing to see how much that costs now to feed myself. And to put the cost of electricity, or hydro as we call it in Canada, all those sort of costs on top, and how they are escalating. So the question really becomes, what my recommendation? What would I have done differently? If I could go back to being that age, or what advice would I have for those people? Well, without a doubt, the number one thing I would say to each and every one of you is, in those first few years of working, even though it seems that it's an absolute struggle, save as much as you can for the down payment on something. And I don't care if it's a shack. Because what nobody taught me in a way that made any sense at all to me was that 10-year savings to put down a deposit on somewhere would turn you into a millionaire probably by the time you want to retire. Why? Because each time you upgrade it, and you will have equity. Remember, that's the bit that you own in the thing. You won't own it all necessarily when you sell it, but you will own some of it. Do you understand? That what you're doing is you're building what they call equity, which is your share of what that property is worth. And I want to tell you something. Each time you turn that place over, the chances are that you are going to be building your equity, which means you're building a reputation with the bank, which means that you are building your retirement plan. So I really admire people who got this right at the beginning. I didn't. I've got to be quite honest, I didn't. I waited far too long. And now, you then need to say to yourself, okay, fine. I have no idea what it's going to cost you to live when you get to the age of retirement. But it's really quite frightening how much money you need to retire today. Frightening. So that's why I'm holding off doing it. I want to keep keep my benefits going at work and keep my, the other things that I don't want to take for granted. I want to be grateful for those too. And just realize that they are all part of living a life. However, I also don't want to work forever. So, the other thing that I'm very grateful for, and it's important to me, was that I traveled a great deal as a young person. I've said that a number of times, I know, but I really did. I traveled so much of the world as a young person. And I really think that was an investment. An investment in my education, not formal education, but my practical education. I got to really understand what poverty was, and it wasn't what I understood poverty to be, that's for sure. I really had my eyes open to what poverty was when I traveled. And it broke my heart, and I never had the same perception again. Never had the same perception again after I saw that. So it's a really important thing to do. And whilst I did visit many really great places in my life, I can remember visiting Monte Carlo, and really that is something else again. You to go to the south of France and see all that opulence that's there. I got to see Africa. I got to experience Libya before the days of Gaddafi, when King Idris was still king, and it, stand in a sandstorm, do all sorts of things that most people never get an opportunity to do. I cannot tell you the subliminal effect that has on you, because you just see things differently and you value things differently. I can't help wondering how many young people today, or even myself for that matter, could actually unplug for 6 months of their lives. I would like now, $10 for every time I say, let me Google that. Let me Google that and find out what's going on. It's become a way of life. It's become the instant answer to so many things. And I don't think that's altogether bad. I personally love it. I have now done things, for example, like I have my tablet, which is my backup computer in case anything ever goes wrong with my computer. I have my tablet in my kitchen and have access to the biggest cookbook in the world. It's called the internet. So that when I feel like being inspired about something, I just pop onto the internet and go, how do you do that? And I've got an instant answer, and it's sitting there right on my counter. When I wanted to make home-baked cookies for Beano, my dog, I just went onto the internet, got an idea of what they put in, then closed the computer down and went and cooked it. Because, I realized that so many recipes are just, you need to know roughly what they're putting in. And I made another batch for Bino last night, and he was most appreciative. So simple. Makes me wonder why I never did it before. So, how fortunate are we, really? Very. And I think it really is something that we need to take a second look at and enjoy. My sadness today is that I'm pretty sure that I will use up the last of the footage from the weekend today, if I haven't used it all up already. And that will be really quite sad for me, because I so enjoyed taking that footage. And the other thing was that while I was getting towards the end, I suddenly ran out of battery, which I knew was going to happen. And I had specially gone out and bought a second battery for my camera, which was expensive. It surprised me actually how expensive it was. Just went, whoa. And then as I was getting towards the end of the day, I went to go and change batteries, and I went into my purse, got out the camera case, and took out the little cover thing that the battery should have been in, and it was gone. Now, I don't mind telling you, that broke my heart. Well, two reasons. Number one is because it meant that I couldn't vlog anymore, but also it broke my heart because it's like, wow, that's a lot of money just went down the drain. And the person sitting next to me, who I'd known for some time and knows me quite well, obviously, said, "No, Sal, you won't have lost it. It's probably somewhere at the bottom of your purse." And I found it this morning. What had me fooled was I didn't know I had two of those little cases. I didn't know I still had the original little case from the first battery. And that's what I had pulled out. So, not a waste of money after all. I've now got two batteries again, which is going to be very useful one day. I'm not sure when, but one day I'm going to run out of battery again, and then I'll go, I got a new one. And you've known that I've done that sometimes on the way to work when I've clean forgotten to recharge the camera. Because, I'm quite normal. So I had a great night last night, and I hope you did as well. I seem to be sleeping better for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. But it is great, and I'm very happy for that. I'm having a more deep sleep than I have been having for some time. And the reason I know that is because I'm dreaming. And I can remember those dreams. So that is great. My body is beginning to settle down. And I can't help wondering whether it's beginning to settle down. It's going to stop fighting me on the sugar thing that's happened to me since I gave up smoking. I'm certainly hoping I've had enough of this weight. But boy, I am really craving sugar these days. So I'm going to have dinner with my friend Laurie that some of you have met before. Tonight we're going to go and have a quick meal after work, so that's going to be fun. I haven't seen her for a couple of weeks, and it's always good to catch up and find out how she's doing. So as I'm fairly close to work, I'm going to give you all a big virtual hug. Hope that you have a wonderful day. and look forward to seeing you and talking to you soon. This is DearMamaSal saying bye for now.